Hello everybody. So today we will be learning about security, because when you create the user you have to assign the roles to the user. So before creating a role you need to understand the concept of role, what is composite activity group, authorization object, what is the difference between composite role and derived role. A role or activity group is a collection of arbitrary transactions, authorizations, and additional objects. You can also define role as the authorization or access given to the user at SAP level. So basically role consists of profile. When we create a role, profiles get generated automatically. So when you create a role, profile gets generated automatically. Then the authorization objects will be generated, and then fields where it's decide whether you have to give full authorization or partial authorization for those objects. And then activities in sense whether you want to give the user a display role, edit role, or or just both edit and change. So this is how the process flow from when you create a role. We will see practically what will happen when you create a role, like how the profile will get generated and how we are giving the authorization to the particular role. Now, composite activity group. Composite activity groups are made up of a collection of activity groups. Users assigned to a composite activity are automatically added to the activity groups during a user comparison. So, for example, say we have a one role which we have defined for a particular module, and if same user from the functional module came, then we can assign that role. So if we have set of other roles for that particular functional modules, we can create a composite activity group and we can assign all those roles to that composite activity group, and then we can assign that user into this activity group. This is what we call it as a composite activity group. What is authorization object? Authorization object is like a template which tests the access privileges on that particular object. So based on the privileges, the action the user is going to perform is decided, like whether he can able to create, change, delete, or lock, unlock. Okay, and roles are of two types. One is composite role and another is derived role. What is composite role? A person having lots of tasks or duties to be performed. Okay, we will assign a role under composite role. A set of roles is known as composite roles. What is derived role? when you are copying a role from one existing standard role, we call it as a derived role. So SAP has some standard role. If you are trying to copy that existing standard role, then we call it as a derived role. SAP has highly recommended to follow a naming convention, okay, whenever you are creating a role. Like, I mean, like, you cannot keep SAP underscore role or something like. You have to give a letter Z before a role or Y, okay, whenever you are creating a role. Let us create a role and assign to the user. So for that, the transaction code we use for creating a role is PFCG. PFCG is the transaction code we use for creating roles. So once you hit enter, you're seeing here single role composite role. Okay. Now you have to decide what kind of role you are going to create. Okay. So here I am creating a group, activity group, says Z underscore new underscore activity group. Once you have given the name for that role, click on create single role. Now here, once you hit that single role, you will be seeing this tabs: menu, authorizations, user, and personalization. So let us give some description for this role, saying that new activity group for testing. Here we can give that whoever create the roles, you can give role created by John for FI group. Okay. So a person should know who has created this role. Now once you given the description, now click on menu and it will say you must save the role first. So you have to say yes, and what it will do, it will save. Now you can see a role menu here. Select that role menu and then you select from the SAP menu local. Once you select here, you will be seeing the SAP standard menu bar. Let us take from the tools, administration, we'll take this basis administration roles whole. Okay. So this, all the administration tasks will be assigned to that role. And click on transfer. Once you click on transfer, you can see those things under the tools, administration, whatever you have seen there, you are able to see, and user can access to this all administration tasks. Now go to authorization tab. Now it was red. Now we have given the roles to that task to that role. Now it has become green. Similarly, now you have to go to authorizations. In authorizations, you need to click on change authorization data. So once click on change authorization data, it will ask you to save. Click on save. Then here, as I said, you need to generate. You have to generate the role. Once you click on generate, it will ask, there are open authorizations. Means there are some, you can see it's indicating by yellow and green. What is yellow? It means the authorization object is partially maintained. Green means what? It means the authorization object is fully maintained. If it is red, that means it means the authorization object is not maintained. Okay. So now we are going to generate. So once you click on generate, it will create a profile name here. So this profile name you will be seeing under the user master data. Okay. Now click execute. Now profile has been created. Once again you save, go back. Again it will ask once again to generate because it's not generated properly. So you have to generate once again. And now it has been generated complete. Once you've done this, then it will become green. Now you have to go to the user tab. Now you have to assign to which users you want this role to be assigned. So let's give this role to John. Okay. Whoever the user you want to give this role. So once you have given this role, you want to compare the user. So this is very important. So once you click on compare, it will say complete comparison. Save yes. So now everything is become green. That means the user got the roles. Okay. So this is how you're assigning the role to a user. So save and let's go back and check whether the user got that profile name or not in his user master record. So how you're going to check? Go to SU01, select the username John. We just want to see, so just click on display and we will see the roles we have given like Z_new activity group, yes, and the profile. When we were generating, we have seen this profile has been given to this user. Similarly, we have given to another user. We will also see the same thing for that user too. Click on display. See Z_new activity group, profiles. So this is how you create roles. So in a company you will be finding more roles and you have to assign those roles to a respective functional team. So hope you understood the concept of role. Thank you so much. Hello everybody. So today we are going to learn how many types of users are there. So as in our last topic we have discussed about the user concept and the password restriction and the default SAP super users. Okay. So how many types of users we have in SAP? We have 5 types of users. The first one is a dialog user. Basically a dialog user is used for all logon types by just one person. During a dialog logon, the system checks for expired initial passwords and the user has the opportunity to change his or her own password. Okay, so whenever a user log on to the system, he will log on using the dialog. Okay, so he is a dialog user. Okay, now what is system user? The system user type is a free communication within a SAP, or this is used for background processing within a system. So when you're running any background jobs or when you're scheduling any background jobs, so every company creates its own system user for running those background jobs. Okay, and also if you see RFC users for various applications, we use that RFC, which is remote function call, okay, such as ALE, workflow, transport management system, central user administration. So for this, so this is also one of the system user. What a communication user? This type of user is for dialogue free communication between systems. So it is not possible to use this type of user for a dialogue logon. So you cannot use communication user as a dialogue. Means you cannot log in with your user ID using this communication user. Okay. Service user, this type of user is a dialogue user that is available to a larger anonymous group of users. In general, we should only assign highly restricted authorization to users of this type, because service users are used, for example, for anonymous system access using ITS or ICF service. So basically these service users are created for the web services, okay, because they use the services ITS or ICF. So the system does not check for expired or initial passwords during logon for this kind of users. Only the user administrator can change the password, and he's only have the authorization to do that one. Whereas the last type of user is reference user. Like the service user, a reference user is a general non-person related user. You cannot use a reference user to log on. A reference user is used only to assign additional authorizations. If you want to assign any additional authorization, then only you are going to use this reference user. So if you see in SAP, if you go to SU01, let's say user DDIC, I'm just going to see the display of DDIC user. If you go to logon, if you see inside the logon data, the user type, we can see here the type of users which I was explaining, the dialogue, system, communication, data, reference, and service. So basically when you create a user, it automatically takes the dialogue. So if you want to create a system user or a communication, then while creating a user, you have to select that from this user type. Okay. So as also in previous topic here, I told that, you know, this the user master record for any user. Okay. This is address, which keeps the address data for the user, like, you know, first name, last name, and the telephone and email of that user. Okay, so if anybody want to send, you can send the email through SAP, and the login data where you usually set the password for the user, right? And the default is nothing but, as I said, like default values for a default printer. So when I was talking about the spool administration, I told that when you are configuring any printer, you have to assign that printer to this user. So here you have to define that printer here in output device. Okay, so it could be a local printer or it could be a remote printer. Okay, you have to assign here. And in the roles parameters, these are user specific values for standard fields in SAP system. Okay, and roles, basically, see, it doesn't have any roles. Okay, since GDS is a super user. Okay, and the profiles, if you see, SAP underscore all, what it means, this profile is a very dangerous to assign to any user. This is only be provided to the authorized user. If you are a senior basis consultant, then only you need to have this. Otherwise, no other user should have this kind of profile. This is a very critical and dangerous profile if you are providing to any users. Okay, so in our next session, we are going to see how are we going to create the users. Okay, and we'll see how we copy the users and other things. Thank you so much.